Okay, so the first thing we're going to be doing is starting our granny square. Okay, so this is round one. I'm going to take you through making a slip knot, followed by making a chain, and then we will make the first round of trebles on our granny square. What you're going to need is you're going to need your yarn, you're going to need your hook, so that will be a 4.0 millimeter or a 4.5 millimeter. You'll need your scissors for cutting the threads and a stitch marker, because we will mark the chain that you will have to join your round with. Okay. To make a slip knot, take the short end of your yarn and cross it over the long end of your yarn. Then with your long end, bring it across the middle of the loop, and then to pick up, we're going to push this one that's crossed over through the loop and then pull. And there you have your slip knot. It is called a slip knot because when you pull the working yarn, it will make the loop smaller, and if you pull the short end, it will make your loop larger. It's a slip knot because we can undo it. There we go, and the loop is gone. So now we have the loop on our hook. For ease, hold the short tail against the handle of the hook in your right hand, or if you're left-handed, put it in your left hand. Okay, now I like to hold my loop with my index finger. It stops it from moving around too much while I prepare my yarn. So now I'm ready. I've got my working yarn wrapped around the index finger of my left hand. I also have it wrapped around my little finger to hold it tight. Okay, so we need it tight. This is what gives us our tension. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my hook under the working yarn, but pull that working yarn here through the loop that I have on my hook, like so. And I've made my first chain. So again, I'm going to put my hook from the front and under my working yarn, and I'm going to angle the head so as to catch the yarn, a bit like hook a duck or using a steering wheel. So I steer the strand that I've just picked up and take it through the loop on my hook. So it's 2 chain, and again, okay, so I'm going to angle the hook around the working yarn, twist it slightly so the working yarn doesn't fall off the end, and then gently glide my hook to my right hand side to take it through the loop that was on the head, and I now have a new loop. Okay, so that's 3. I'm going to do this 3 more times. So we angle the head around the working yarn, hold it tight around the head, and draw the hook through the loop. That's 4. Wrap the yarn round and gently glide it through the loop. That's 5, and once more. And that's 6. So that's my first 6 chain. Now, from here we're going to make this long line into a loop. Now we need that loop because that's going to be where we make all our stitches on our first round. You see this circle in the middle? This chain is going to make that circle. Okay, Okay, so we're going to locate the very first chain that we made that was close to our slip knot. This here is the slip knot at the beginning, and we're currently looking at the edge of our chain. So I'm just going to remove my hook for a moment and turn the chain right side up. So here is our loop that sits on our hook. And can you see these shapes along the chain? Kind of makes a chevron shape. A chain is made of 3 parts. We have a front loop and a back loop. And if we turn our chain over, you'll see a series of bumps, and we call these the back bump. So what we'll do is this first back bump, the very first bump, this is where I want to put my hook. So I'm just going to put a stitch marker in it to show me. Okay, can you see that? So that's the back bump. If I turn that over so that you can see the front, okay, can you see the purple of the stitch marker underneath the front bar, front loop and the back loop? So that is your chain stitch, and that's where we're going to insert our hook. Okay, so I've got my hook back in my loop, and I want to make this straight line into a circle. So all I'm going to do is insert my hook from the front to the back in the same space that we put the stitch marker. So I just pick it up like this. Okay, so now I can remove that stitch marker and it's out of my way. So I've now got a chain stitch and the loop on my hook. So what I'm going to do now is what's called a slip stitch. To slip stitch, I'm going to wrap the yarn around my hook head, and then I'm going to use my hook like a steering wheel and draw this strand of yarn through the chain stitch and the loop, all in one movement, like so. There we go, and I've made a circle. So for ease, when it comes to having a go at making the stitches that you need for the first round of the granny square, again I'm going to use a stitch marker, and I'm going to place the stitch marker into the centre of my ring. So you see the opening where I've put the purple stitch marker. That's going to be the space that we hook into for making our granny squares.